The Lunaverse, Episode 26 at the Grand Galloping Gala, series by Rainbow Double Dash, Thick by Rainbow Double Dash. Chapter 3 Arrival in Canterlot. Though the station itself had been no better than the rest of the town, the train tracks had been clear enough that the Ponyville Canterlot line had been able to run on time, and Trixie had caught the first train to Canterlot in the morning at 11 a.m., so he'd arrive at 1 o'clock, just as the political side of the city was beginning to wake up. Hopefully, he'd be able to catch the Viceroy early, before he managed to fully plan out his day. Represented as a representative of the Night Court, appointed by Luna herself, would hopefully allow her some leverage into his busy schedule. Not enough to see him immediately, but certainly enough to have an arranged meeting, provided he didn't just turn her away. In spite of everything, Trixie couldn't help but smile as the closer she got to Canterlot. The train had to make several stops on the way to Canterhorn itself, as well as traveling up to Canterhorn, winding around the mountainside, offering Trixie inoperable opportunities to look out her window and to stare at the city from a multitude of angles. For some reason, she always got a little giddy when approaching Canterlot, though by far the best part was towards the end of the train trip. The train would offer one last glimpse of the gleaming Canterlot in the distance before entering a spiraling tunnel. Then, 2 minutes later, when it emerged, Canterlot would be there before the train. Colors and design of silver, the galloping river suddenly painting a rich tapestry for the eyes. Trixie was certain that the train line had been designed like that to offer you continuous, tantalizing glimpses before finally revealing Canterlot in all of its glory. Trixie's joy was seeing the city that had served as her home for 10 years, though, was almost immediately tempered by the knowledge of why she was here. The fact that she was here alone was also beginning to sting at her. In hindsight, she wished she'd come here with at least one of her friends. Shirley, school was out after all, or Lyra, who would make her own schedule thanks to being a musician, or Carrot Top or Titsy too, for their friendly faces, something she didn't doubt she was in desperate need of, or Raindrops to keep her honest and from making a fool of herself. But they had their own problems to deal with right now, their families to be with, their homes to fix, and they were counting on Trixie to get through to the Viceroy. As the train stopped at Canterlot Central, she sipped out of her wizard's hat and cape, steeled herself, and resolved that she would not return to Ponyville without the money that her new hometown needed so desperately. She tried from the train with her head held high. There she is! There were hundreds of ponies at Canterlot Central, yet somehow Trixie knew that whoever had called out, they were referring to her. Her eyes widened as she looked around, and saw closing in from all sides dozens of ponies of every tribe, gender, and hue. They moved with surprising speed through the crowd. Many of them wore bowler caps or had cameras, or notepads and quills or pencils. Some of the winsome unicorns of the group had animated to write all by themselves. There was a recurring theme of paper and quills amongst their cutie marks, though. Wait! Trixie barely had time to say before the sharks and vultures, come to know as laity and stealerless, descended upon her. Representative of Lunaverse! Every one of them began, though they broke off into dozens of questions, with flashes of cameras began. Is it true that Ponyville have anything to say regarding the... Remove your hat for a mere photograph. Demanding an emergency evening at the Night Court. Say those things about the Viceroy day late night. Lying to the public about what Ponyville's own claims that your own relationship with... Does the representative actually have to before you make demands? Does Princess Luna know? Please, look into the... Trixie had to be calm and not panic. She failed, her horn glowing, leaking into visibility. But the flashes of dozens or so cameras played havoc with her illusion, wrecking it in moments. None of the journalists even seemed to have noticed as they continued to crowd her. She tried to put herself on, though. They were forming a virtually impenetrable wall, a wall that was reinforced by innocent bystanders trying to come over and see what all the commotion was. She tried to back away into the train, but the doors behind her had closed already. Please! Trixie called out. She couldn't be heard at first, so her horn glowed again, wrapping a noisy amplification spell from around her throat. Please stop! One question at a time! The journalists all heard her. But unfortunately, each of them wanted to be the first to get their question in, so all that happened was a bare moment of silence. Trixie gritted her teeth, stamping her hose on the ground, throwing up an illusionary fire and smoke. This caused the journalist in the back away to shut up. Okay, Trixie said, as the smoke billowed over her head. Can somebody please? Emergency brain cloud! What? Trixie looked up just in time to see through her illusory smoke. A Pegasus wearing an official security uniform bucked an emergency cloud. The cloud burst apart, collapsing into water, falling on top of Trixie, and a deluge that left her both spurting and soaked. Next thing she knew, the Pegasus was next to her, asking her if she was all right. Is he a bit burned? Does he need to go to the hospital? Without thinking, her tits snapping, Trixie punched her in the face and turned, and found herself face to face with a much larger security pony. Oh, sweet Celestia Trixie! Was very displeased at Trixie having decked her co-worker. She hoof punched Trixie in the face in response, to tackle her to the ground. Probably. Either Trixie simply fell of her own accord. Either way, she collapsed with a thud.
What just happened?
Trixie breathed as he tried to work through the daze. What happened is that you punched a member of the Canterlot Central Station Security in the face! Security seemed noteworthy, and for Trixie, an hour later, a security guard frames Fress, the abnormally tall and bulky unicorn who laid Trixie out, kept one eye on Trixie, and the other on Lightning Streak, who had a bag of ice pressed to his muzzle, glaring daggers at Trixie. The four of them were in a small, plain room. Trixie no longer cuffed, but sitting behind a table without the benefit of cushions. There was a smaller table tucked into the one corner, on top of which sat a newspaper. The Trixie hadn't been able to see it before being set down behind the table. Trixie, however, had been provided her own bag of ice, which she supposed was nice, though not nearly nice enough for her to forget what just happened, especially seeing she was still soaked.
I only did it,
she objected,
because he threatened me with a cloud!
Because you were on fire! Lightning Streak called out.
It was fake!
Trixie countered, her horn glowing, creating fake fire on her hoof tip. When she proceeded to wave in front of her front legs harmlessly.
See? Illusion! Light! That's it!
Threatening ponies with an illusionary fire carries the same consequences as using real fire, Noteworthy noted. Trixie jabbed a hoof at Lightning Streak.
I wasn't threatening him. I was threatening the journalists. And I tried to back away so they wouldn't let me through. And I tried to get to the stop, but he wouldn't listen.
She glared at Lightning Streak and Street Fress.
Where were you two for that, huh?
Noteworthy stopped the hoof and gave Trixie's attention. Listen, Miss Lunamoon.
Please, just call me Trixie.
Miss Lunamoon, Noteworthy repeated. I do not see how threatening members of the press in any way helps your case. Frankly, with what you've been saying, I'm surprised you weren't expecting this kind of media response.
What I've been saying?
Trixie asked, confused. About Viceroy Nightlight. Trixie stared uncomprehendingly. Noteworthy in response, turned to grab the newspaper from the smaller table, laid it down in front of Trixie. Looking back at her from the newspaper was her. A 6-month-old photograph to be precise, depicting her back when she had first earned the element of magic and driven off Corona. It showed her looking smug, she had to admit, and self-assured, though, given what she had just accomplished at the time, she felt entirely justified. The picture was not what grabbed her attention, however. It was the article title. Ponyville, subject to riot and self-destruction.
What?
Trixie shrieked, far louder than she intended, as she stood, finding her hose on the table as she read the article.
Ponyville. Being between the site of the Tyrant Sun's return, stampeding ourselves a Phoenix attack, and the location of a Paris by invasion, the small town of Ponyville in the North Everfree has been making headlines quite a lot recently. However, questions are being raised concerning the latest event. Mayor Ivory Scroll alleges that the town was attacked by a zebra, the zebra mania of Corona. It was the method of the attack, however, that raises suspicion. It was a zebra magic ritual, Ivory Scroll explained, cast over this town this past summer's fair. It cursed our alcohol and made us keep drinking and destroy our town. Trixie tried to cry out in shock, but couldn't. The zebra magic was not intended to curse the town's alcohol. Trixie didn't, for that matter, know what it was supposed to do at all, only that she had disrupted it in the middle of it being cast, resulting in it going awry. Mayor Ivory Scroll has stated as much to the equestrian press, but apparently this newspaper, and most others Trixie assumed, had elected to only give an abbreviated version of the claim. A version that made it look laughable even to Trixie's eyes. However, the Royal Emergency Management Ministry, headed by Nightlight, Viceroy Latigo, issued the following statement. The REMM requires time to analyze the situation in Ponyville. Attacking Ursus from the Everfree is one thing, but the idea that a minion of the Tyrant Sun would somehow curse the town's liquor after months of almost no word concerning her raises a number of questions that must be answered before it is rendered. When asked if he believes that Ponyville is attempting to scam the REMM, Viceroy Nightlight said, "I hope that no pony in Equestria could possibly not be selfish, but it is something that we must consider. The claim of Mayor Ivory Skull strains credulity at best." "That is totally outrageous," Trixie Lunamoon, representative of the Night Court of Ponyville, an element of magic, said, according to an anonymous source when she heard the news. "Ponyville deserves compensation. This is simply Viceroy Nightlight trying to revenge himself upon Ponyville for the incident here with his daughter, punishing an entire town for his bad parenting skills. I'm the student Princess Luna, and if Nightlight thinks he can get away with this, he has another thing coming."
Trixie stared wide-eyed. The article continued for some time, but it was solely that line that drew her attention. She was unable to read past it.
I didn't say that!" Trixie exclaimed. "I didn't say that! I didn't say anything like that!"
"Yeah," Noteworthy said, taking the article away. "Right." Trixie stared at the 3 ponies.
"I didn't!"
she repeated, falling back onto her haunches, one hoof to her chest. Her heart was beating uncontrollably. The newspaper, Equestria Nightly, the most read newspaper in Canterlot. Every pony has a subscription. Princess Luna has a subscription. Now every pony thinks that she would make a personal attack on the Viceroy. Princess Luna would think. "Maybe you don't remember," Springfresh ventured, "given how much you Ponyvillians like to party."
Trixie stared at the unicorn. "No!" she exclaimed. I didn't say that!"
The other 3 ponies in the room looked between each other, almost as one wincing. It was obvious this wasn't an act, that Trixie was genuinely feeling the terror she was portraying. Noteworthy looked at Lightning Streak. "How's the muzzle?" Lightning Streak winced as he touched digitally a few times. "I'll be fine," he decided after a moment. "All right, Miss Lunamoon, you're free to go, but if you ever so much as litter at Canterlot Central again, I will press charges. Understand?" Trixie nodded grimly, still focusing more on the ground as she stood, allowing her to be escorted from the small room to the larger security office of Canterlot Central. Though the window set at the security office's door, she could see a multitude of ponies, the journalists and photographers, milling about outside waiting. Trixie grimaced. She didn't want to deal with this right now. Letting her horn glow, she wrapped an illusion over her cape and hat, making them appear to be a plain brown shirt and cap of a security guard uniform. Then she changed her coat and mane color so they would notably edge towards green. She didn't bother with her cutie mark as she stepped back out into the train spacesuit proper. The journalists almost descended upon her, before noticing she didn't look like the unicorn they wanted to assault, and went back to waiting. Trixie pushed past them, and almost dropped her illusion when she left the train station. But instead she saw a newspaper stand, an old smug grin staring back at her from every front page. She noticed a dozen ponies and more trotting along, or sitting down, or standing and waiting, while reading the newspaper. Granted, most of them were more focused on the weather schedule or on the sports section, but they all had, most likely, given the front page article at least a cursory glance, and it would have read about the hick town that had partied too hard, and was now expecting the REMM to pay up. How the head of the REMM wanted an investigation first. Now Trixie Lunamoon called him a horrible parent on page 1 of Equestrian Nightly. Trixie elected to keep her illusion up, at least for now, as she tried for Canterlot Central, made her way to Canterlot Castle. As she did, she considered what she now knew. Firstly, some pony in Canterlot really did not like her. Secondly, that pony had sway with at least one major newspaper. That article mentioned an anonymous source. Newspapers didn't make a habit of preying false information. However, that meant that this anonymous source had to be some pony who was generally considered to be a trusted one. Thirdly, provided the rest of the article wasn't a lie, Nightlight was denying aid to Ponyville based on sheer ludicrousness on paper of what had happened there. To an extent, Trixie could understand his line of reasoning. Finally, the anonymous source wanted to keep Trixie from interacting with Nightlight. The goal of the newspaper article hadn't been specifically to alienate Trixie from Canterlot High Society, though this would certainly happen, but rather to specifically have inflammatory remarks that would keep Trixie from even being able to approach Nightlight, let alone try to convince her to aid Ponyville. "Oh, right," Trixie mumbled under her breath as she trotted through Canterlot, the walls of the castle coming into view.
"One more thing. Princess Luna doesn't probably like me very much right now."
At least, that was something she was used to and could deal with, in theory at least. Then again, she had never been quoted in papers before.
Featured, yes, but not quoted. Trixie's pace slowed as he approached Canterlot Castle itself. Not out of apprehension, but simply rather to avoid bumping into ponies. Thanks to her little trip to Canterlot Central security station, it was now nearly 3 p.m. The various ponies of the Night Court, as well as their assistants, their secretaries and hangers-on, and others, were seeking passage through the gates of Canterlot Castle. Trixie dispelled her illusion on her coat, gradually so as to not startle any pony, and hopefully avoid their notice altogether. Though she did not drop the illusion disguising her head keep as well, she wove new ones immediately. It turns into a simple gray rather than her signature purple. Hopefully that would serve as an adequate disguise. Never mind she had the fist and authentication badge from out of her cape's pocket, and adhere to one point of the shoulder. Most ponies wouldn't even look at that, except the guards. Naturally, when she reached the gate proper, it really played and fell apart when she saw two particular night guards were running security checkpoint today. Technically, they looked identical at a glance. Both Pegasi, meaning their armor changed their appearances to make their coats a deep gray. Their eyes yellow and slit like those of a dragon, giving them bat wings and pointed teeth. The goal being to make them look as intimidating as possible. However, a minor cantrip allowed Trixie to look past the glamour and see the real pony beneath, as well as the nameplates on their armor. ID? Midnight smiled, asked. Night guard flashed a toothy grin when he recognized Trixie, as did his companion, Frogsome Meadowlark. Last time Trixie had run into him, it had not been a good day. Trixie nevertheless identified her ID badge. Was Frogsome leaned into his pets closely. After a moment he laid back, nodding. All right, he says, look legitimate. Remembered it this time, I see, Moonlight observed. Trixie resisted the urge to breathe out a sigh of relief. It settled on just nodding. Apparently they weren't in the mood for obstructing her like they did the last time. Ma'am? Moonlight said, using his left wing and front hoof to point off to the side. I'll have to ask you to step aside for a moment in order to facilitate a random security check. Trixie blanched. A what? She asked. Under the Equestrian Security Act, we are required to give random detailed security checks. Frogsome clarified. If you'll wait just over there, a specialist will be along shortly. Trixie blinked, looking to where the Pegasus was indicating. You haven't stopped any pony else, she exclaimed. They are random, Moonlight pointed out. Trixie opened her mouth to object further, before remembering that she was in a line and there were other ponies behind her. Other ponies she really didn't want to have to deal with right now. Sighing audibly, Trixie stepped from the line, while Moonlight lifted up the length of her wall and waved to one of the castle guards stationed there. He waved back in confirmation and disappeared from the parapet. Unsurprisingly, Fredness didn't choose to strike again, while Trixie waited for a moment. Was waiting for 2, then 5. She glared at the 2 night guards, who pointedly ignored her, until the line to enter Canterlot Castle grounds finally thinned to nothing. 10 minutes later, and the promised specialist still hadn't shown up. Frogsome cast a glance her way. I'm sure he'll come along. Trixie fumed. I'm sure. Trixie echoed dryly. As it turned out, the 2 guards weren't lying. The pony showed up less than a minute later. Even still, Trixie's patience had just run its course. She opened her mouth to begin listing a litany of complaints. Words went inside her throat when she saw who she was facing. A tall, white unicorn with a blue mane and tail, dressed in the silver armor of the Royal Guard. He was not a member of the Night Guard, so there was no disguising glamour for him. Trixie recognized him, even as he fixed Trixie with a tight-lipped grin. Greetings, he said. My name is Shining Armor, and I'll be overseeing your security inspection. Shining Armor, captain of the Royal Guard, the pony who had dared defy Corona when she had escaped from the sun, the heir apparent to the House of Starlight. You called? No! The son of Viceroy Nightlight, and an older brother, Trixie now knew, a Twilight. Sparkle! Okay, Trixie intoned in a small voice. Trixie technically accomplished her goal of entering Canterlot Castle, but it was only while riding beside Shining Armor, who led her to a small, out-of-the-way room that very much resembled the one she had just left the train station, albeit with a sturdier door, a clock on the inside, and a water fountain with cups sitting on the right side of it. Shining Armor directed Trixie to take a seat on the one side of the table that dominated the corner of the room, as he obeyed without question, while Shining himself took a seat on the other side, conjuring out several sheets of paper, an inkwell, and a quill for nothingness as he did so. Oh, no. No, please tell Trixie this is not going to turn into a porno. Please tell Trixie this is not going to turn into a porno. Only if you want it, babe. Eep.
He did not break eye contact with Trixie as the quill drove into the inkwell, and his point placed itself on the sheet of paper. "Now," Shining Armor said, and the quill recorded his words deftly. "This conversation will be recorded and kept on file. Could you please state your name and occupation clearly?" Trixie visited.
Trixie Lunamoon, she said after a moment. Representative of the Night Court of Luna to Ponyville.
Trixie noted that when she spoke, the words were written down in black, while Shining Armor's own words were written in red. The quill automatically dipped and returned the paper of its own accord as Shining Armor kept his eyes on her. "Your purpose at Canterlot Castle?"
I was seeking an audience with that is, Viceroy Nightlight.
Shining Armor frowned a little. "I see," he said. "Do you have an appointment?"
No, I was hoping to make one.
Shining Armor's frown deepened again. It was not quite what she had been expecting, which was an angry scowl. This one seemed almost disappointed, as though she herself was failing to live up to his expectations. "What did you wish to discuss with the Viceroy?"
Trixie said, visiting again. The, situation in Ponyville. Do you know about it?
"State it for the record." Trixie tried her front hose together.
There was an attack on Ponyville by Sakura, she explained. She was trying to place some kind of curse on the town. I don't know what. I disrupted it, but it didn't stop the spell, just changed it. Our alcohol made us go wild and destroy the town before we set everything right. No pony was seriously injured, but the damages amount to nearly 900,000 bits. The town only has 50,000 in its emergency fund. So, I am here to discuss the situation with the Viceroy.
Shining Armor stared at her. "I see," he said. "Is that all? You're not here for anything else?"
No, nothing.
"You sure? Not even something like giving him parenting advice?" Trixie recoiled. For a moment she had allowed herself to hope Shining Armor hadn't read the paper today. Apparently, she was wrong.
No! She exclaimed. I didn't say anything about that. Ecclesia Knightley is lying.
Shining Armor's eyes arrowed at that. "I see," he said. Trixie opened her mouth and continued, but the look on Shining Armor's face strongly suggested it would be a good idea not to.
"It's not true,"
she said, definitely away as she sat down, crossing her front legs before her, looking away.
"Some pony faked that newspaper article, or at least lied about that part. I haven't spoken at all to any reporters."
Shining Armor toned. "Mother's name?"
Trixie blinked. "What?"
"Well, this is a full security check, Miss Lunamoon. Very thorough, though the questions probably won't take more than, 10 minutes. Verify them on the other hoof." "So, mother's name?"
"Crescent star sign. But she's not the pony who raised me. My aunt did, Moonsinger, and my uncle, Sky Sharper. Although, depending on what continuity we're going with."
"Yeah, let's stick with Lunaverse here."
"Okay."
Trixie and Shining Armor nodded that. "Any brothers or sisters? Or cousins?" "Okay, fans of this channel, and people who know me by now, insert your own Checker Monarch joke here."
"Thank you."
Trixie suppressed a sigh at the grim prospect of spending the next hour or longer in this room.
"Cousins," she said. 7 of them."
Trixie wasn't certain if she endured technically qualified as an interview or an interrogation. She never endured so many personal questions in her life, and was fairly certain that even Luna didn't have a detailed knowledge of her history as Shining Armor now did. After they finished the questions, a process which nearly took half an hour, not the 10 minutes Shining Armor had promised, he left her alone in the room while everything she was given was sent off to be checked. Fortunately, Trixie was not a pony who could get easily bored. Or rather, she was a pony who, when she got bored, could easily keep herself entertained with illusions. She practiced creating duplicates of herself, throwing her voice, silencing her movements. The room she was in fact, created near-perfect echoes, allowing her to practice a particular sound effect, or rather an anti-sound effect, she had been working on for months now. wasn't long before she rifled through all of her illusions, of course, as she found that only an hour had passed while she did. Her knowledge of the remaining 7 schools of magic was somewhat limited, but that only made her need to practice the ones she did know all the better. Unfortunately, that only took a half hour. Trixie groaned, tapping one hoof on the floor in impatience. Well, there was something else she wanted to try, but she hadn't had time for the past few weeks, at least evolve over the past few days. Well, now she did. Sighing slightly, Trixie tried over to the door for the room, opening and sticking her head out. She was unsurprised to see a silver-armored guard standing outside. Only shot her a second's glance before turning to a stoic silence. Trixie made him no mind. She wasn't under arrest after all. As he tried over to the water fountain, filled a cup, then brought it back to the ear-view interrogation room.
Okay,
Trixie said, setting the cup on the table and staring at
it. Let's see.
Trixie cast her mind inwards. Some months ago, she had a flirtation with zebra magic rituals, which operated completely under different principles from pony magic. Zebra magic was external and ritual-driven, powered by magic words and end circles, and basically exploiting loopholes in reality, as opposed to the natural, externally expressed magic of unicorns. But no matter how alien it was still magic. Trixie's special talent was magic, or in that, she had an instinctive understanding of magic, at least to some degree. It allowed her to learn spells by watching them be cast by other unicorns, or to modify spells she knew to fit new situations. All of her various illusion tricks, in fact, were the same spell, simply with little variations of how much power she used, or to put the power. So, what she was about to attempt was at least theoretically possible. She gathered power into her horn and began waving her front hose around, eyes closed. Her first flirtation with zebra magic had been, well, disastrous, but it led her to dispel, a potion, which she cast several times now, refining her knowledge of it. More importantly, understanding how the zebra magic round through loopholes of reality, figuring out ways she hoped of duplicating it herself. It was a trying process. Trixie had basically used her own magic to substitute for the effect Beru had in brew. Then the petals of a white rose, then its use of a green apple picked no more than a day ago. As she worked magic over the cup of water in front of her, each step took longer than it normally would have. Nothing else. It was an easy way to kill time. At length, Trixie magically finished finishing the ingredients of the wire. She leaned forward now, getting right up to the cup and saying, with all the conviction she could master, "Owego ni baraka! Ukea ni medici!"
Lies are a blessing.
Truth is a scourge. All at once, the magic she had gathered seemed to collapse into a cup of water, was rolled and bubbled through as though boiling. By the time it had settled down, the water had turned opaque and green, was considerably more viscous than water should have been. Trixie blinked. It looked right, and even smelled right, but had she succeeded? Only one way to find out. Steeling herself, Trixie grasped the potion and gulped it into one fell gulp. It tasted better going down her throat, and as soon as she began to exhale,
did it work? I think it worked okay. I can't stop talking, can I lie though? I want to say my coat is green. Let's try that. My coat is blue. I can't lie. I did it. I cast a zebra spell with unicorn magic. Ha! Oh, stars, I can't lie, and I can't stop talking. That might be bad. I hope that...
Trixie's horn glowed, and her mouth clamped shut, as a small jolt of magic traveled through her body. A sort of emergency brake she put into the spell, after an unfortunate incident with her first casting it. Cautiously, she looked at her foreleg.
My coat is green!
She ventured. Then she smiled. Ha! She exclaimed. She cast a zebra spell using unicorn magic. She wasn't sure, but she was pretty certain that nobody in equestrian history would be able to pull off such a feat. Trixie checked the time. 10 minutes had passed. No! She cursed in Prince. Now what was left to do? Several hours later, Shining Armor appeared again. All smiles and grins in a way Trixie was certain he knew would grin on her after having spent so much time in one room, with nothing to keep herself entertained beyond her illusion. He also chose an awful time to come in at, as he set up an illusionary landscape on the table, as he had been in the process of recreating the famous windmill scene from Don Riancalante. I was about to get to the good part, too. Well, he said, I have good news for you, Miss Lilamoon. Everything checks out. You are free to enter Canterlot Castle. Trixie nodded, keeping her mouth tightly shut, and infinitely glad she knew how to dispel the truth as a scourge. She dispelled her illusion, however. She looked at Shining Armor, grimacing slightly, rather than staring immediately for the door.
Captain Armor, she said, are you going to be seeing your father anytime soon?
Shining Armor's eyes narrowed. That is none of your concern. He nodded.
Trixie nodded. I understand,
she said, fidgeting. She had no idea how to phrase what she wanted to say, so she just said,
I'm sorry for what happened in Twilight.
The captain of the guard didn't react. Trixie decided this was a good sign.
I've tried to apologize to your father, she said, 3 times. I sent messages to his office here in Tulatego. He keeps returning them unopened. I just want to apologize for the part I played in making her run off. Could you make sure he knows if you see him before I do? And you too. I'm sorry. If I could do that night over. I know it must be hard, not seeing her so long.
I saw her a month ago, Shining Armor interrupted.
Trixie blinked. You did? She asked, stepping forward. Was she all right? What happened?
Shining Armor's mouth was a thin line as he stared at Trixie. I was on leave, he said, in Latego. There's a small town here, on the border with Xenophon in the wild north. My parents and my sister used to go there on holidays. I went there, and she was there. Trixie already had a bad feeling where this was going. I tried to talk to her, but she started running. Shining Armor continued. I trapped her in a magic shield. I've always been able to do that before. My special talent is protection. Nothing gets through my shields, I thought. I tried to tell her to come home. She said she couldn't. Not until she's shown all of us that you, Miss Lunaverse, were a fake. Then she used the most powerful teleport magic I've ever seen. She shattered my spell and knocked me to the ground. When I got up, she was gone. Trixie stared. She didn't know what to say at first, though the answer came quickly enough.
I'm sorry.
Shining Armor only shook his head, turning around. I'll pass the message, he said, trying off. Trixie took note of the fact that he did not say he accepted Trixie's apology. She gave it only even odds he was telling the truth about passing the apology to Nightlight. But it was a start. The blue unicorn shivered as she trotted off to the security station, making her way to the castle proper.
What else could go wrong?
Undetermined, she demanded.
Representative Lunaverse,
A determined, slightly angry voice called.
Why do I ask these things?
Trixie asked of the universe as she looked around for the source of the voice. She found it swiftly in the form of a pale yellow-colored, pink-maned Pegasus mare who was trotting softly up to her side. The mare was wearing a fine dress and jewelry that suggested her to be a member of the nobility. Trixie's eyes lightened at the sight. She was taller and her colors were off, but the mare looked an awful lot like
Fluttershy!